Education for Life School, perhaps. It was before the term Education for Life, but how this idea kind of came about, and then Usha's going to build on that. Back in 1917, in India, Yogananda was a young man, he was talking one day with his guru, Sri Yukteswar, and Yukteswar said to him something to the effect, I noticed that you're never involved with organizational work. And he was saying, well, you know, which I can relate to this so well because that was definitely my attitude. It's like, who would want to do that? You know, you have all the headaches, you can never please everybody, you know, you put out all kinds of energy and nothing good comes back from it. Who would want to do that? And Yukteswar, I'm sure, could relate to that. However, he said, you know, where would you be today if other people had not put forth the effort to have some kind of a structure where you could learn all the things you needed to learn? And he really took that to heart. And he had always been interested in the idea of training for youths where they could be trained in living skills and not just academic education, where there would be the ordinary intellectual training, but also knowledge of what leads to happiness and success in life. What are the things that lead to that? And so in 1917, he began a small school for boys. And it started out with 7 students. And by the following year, they had so much interest, and fortunately he had found someone who was willing to help support the work financially, and they moved to Ranchi, India in 1918 and established a large school that was for boys, and eventually they had other day schools for girls as well. The name of the school was Brahmacharya Vidyalaya, I think is how you pronounce it, which basically they translated it as the school for all-around human development. And many of the classes were conducted out of doors. There were all the usual academic subjects, including, I think, 4 or 5 languages, which was common for India because there are so many different languages. But there was an agricultural college course. The land where they had the school was 25 acres, and they also had a lot of fruit trees. So part of every student's instruction was having a little plot. 2 or 3 students would work together and have a plot where they would grow food. They also had industrial and commercial training, and they had a great variety, things like bookkeeping and typing, bookbinding, tailoring, spinning, nursing, first aid work, things like that. And as well, they taught them yoga, concentration, and meditation. The Yogoda exercises, which we know them as the energization exercises, for how you could recharge your body and your energy from the universal energy. And they also did daily practicing Kriya Yoga. So it was a very unusual school for the time, but the whole idea was to prepare students for life. So this was even though they didn't use the term, Education for Life. One of the chief distinguishing features, though, was the individual attention to each student and the purposeful study made by the teachers of each student, looking for their particular gifts, their strengths, the potential that each one had. And that's a very important aspect for us of Education for Life as well, to look for a student's strengths, for their gifts, and to look for, as Sandy mentioned, what's the next step for this child and how can we help them achieve that? And so Usha now is going to take you through some of the more recent developments.